Our journey through the wars of ancient Rome spans a vast period, from the 3rd century BCE to the 5th century CE, covering over 700 years of history. Geographically, our narrative unfolds primarily in the Mediterranean region, encompassing the Italian peninsula, North Africa, the Iberian Peninsula, Gaul, modern-day France, and stretching to the borders of the Middle East and the banks of the Rhine River in Central Europe. At the epicenter of this story is the city of Rome, initially a small city-state on the banks of the Tiber River, which would grow to become the capital of the largest empire the ancient world had ever seen. As Rome expands, our geographical focus widens, following the advance of the Roman legions. Rome's rise as a military power did not happen overnight. In the centuries leading up to the Punic Wars, Rome gradually consolidated its power on the Italian peninsula. Several crucial events paved the way for Roman expansion: the expulsion of the Etruscan kings and the establishment of the Roman Republic in 509 BCE, which created a system of government that allowed Rome to mobilize resources and manpower more efficiently. The Samnite Wars, 343 to 290 BCE, which resulted in Roman domination of central and southern Italy, providing Rome with a solid territorial base and crucial military experience. The Pyrrhic War, 280 to 275 BCE, in which Rome defeated King Pyrrhus of Epirus, establishing itself as the dominant power on the Italian peninsula and gaining recognition in the Mediterranean world. These conflicts not only expanded Roman territory but also refined its military tactics and political institutions, setting the stage for much larger-scale confrontations that were to come. Unlike many ancient empires, Rome did not simply conquer and subjugate. It developed a sophisticated alliance system, the socii system, which integrated conquered cities into the Roman structure. This allowed Rome to mobilize enormous armies, often outnumbering many of its adversaries. By the beginning of the Punic Wars, Rome had developed the legion, a highly flexible and effective military unit. The legion, with its combination of heavy infantry, cavalry, and support troops, was a versatile war machine that could adapt to various terrains and enemies. Unique among ancient civilizations, Rome often extended citizenship to conquered peoples. This policy not only reduced resistance in conquered areas but also provided a constant flow of new recruits for the legions. This enabled Rome to sustain losses that would have destroyed smaller nations. These elements, the alliance system, the military effectiveness of the legion, and the inclusive citizenship policy, formed the foundation of Roman power. They explain how Rome was able not only to survive military disasters that would have destroyed other nations but also to emerge even stronger from its conflicts. As we delve into the era of the Punic Wars, we will see how these factors combined to transform Rome from a regional power into an empire that would dominate the Mediterranean world for centuries. Imagine standing atop the Palatine Hill, the hot and heavy Roman summer air wrapping around you like a cloak. The relentless Mediterranean sun shines down, reflecting off the white marble facades of the temples and palaces below. The scent of freshly baked bread mixes with the acrid smoke from forges and the pungent odors of the crowded streets. In the distance, the roar of the crowd at the Colosseum reaches your ears, punctuated by the metallic clang of workers' tools still laboring on this colossal monument. The massive stone stands rise towards the sky, promising spectacles on a scale never before seen. In the streets below, the rhythmic sound of leather sandals striking basalt stones announces the approach of a legion. The polished bronze of their helmets glints in the sun, while the red of their cloaks ripples hypnotically. The legion's banners, golden eagles atop long poles, sway proudly above the formation, symbols of Rome's power and glory. Now, transport yourself to the arid hills of Hispania. The air is dry and dusty, filled with the metallic scent of blood and the acrid odor of sweat. The scorching sun reflects off the blades of swords and spear tips, creating a blinding glare on the battlefield. The war cry of the Roman soldiers, Roma Victrix, echoes through the hills, blending with the battle shouts of Carthaginian warriors and the frightened whinnies of horses. The ground trembles beneath the weight of war elephants, their trumpeting like the sound of doomsday. Blood-stained wooden shields clash, the sound reverberating like thunder. The smell of leather, hot metal, and fear permeates the air. Dust clouds rise from the dry ground, obscuring parts of the battlefield and adding a dreamlike quality to the violent scene. In the dense forests of Gaul, the air is cool and damp, filled with the scent of pine and wet earth. The constant sound of axes chopping wood and the creaking of loaded carts echoes through the clearing where a Roman camp is being erected. Observe the orderly rows of leather tents, lined up in straight streets like a miniature city. The wooden walls of the camp rise quickly, sharp logs forming a formidable barrier. The defensive ditch, dug by hundreds of calloused hands, surrounds the perimeter. At the center of the camp, the commander's tent stands out, its banner fluttering in the breeze. The smell of cooking mingles with the scent of leather and metal from makeshift workshops, where armor is repaired and weapons are sharpened. At the edges of the camp, the silhouettes of ballistae and catapults stand against the evening sky. These war machines, marvels of Roman engineering, are ready to hurl heavy projectiles across great distances, a testament to Rome's technological prowess. Finally, we return to Rome, but a very different Rome. The once glorious city walls now show signs of neglect and damage. The air is heavy with a sense of apprehension and decay. The sounds of the city have changed. The anxious murmurs of citizens replace the confident buzz of the past. The occasional clinking of coins is a reminder of the collapsing economy. In the streets, soldiers with poorly maintained armor patrol nervously, their eyes constantly scanning the horizon. The majestic aqueducts, once a testament to Roman ingenuity, now leak and drip. The once abundant flow of water has diminished to a trickle, symbolizing the empire's decline. The stench of untreated waste lingers in the air, a sign of the failing municipal systems. In the Forum, once the beating heart of Roman public life, cracked marble columns and broken statues tell the story of fading glory. The distant sound of horse hooves and barbarian shouts sends a shiver of fear through the citizens. Eternal Rome is about to face its greatest challenge, and the air is thick with the weight of an empire on the brink of collapse. Born in 247 BCE in Carthage, North Africa, Hannibal Barca grew up in a family of military leaders. The son of General Hamilcar Barca, Hannibal was raised with a single purpose: to avenge Carthage against Rome after their defeat in the First Punic War. At the age of 9, his father made him swear eternal hatred toward Rome, a vow that would define his entire life. Hannibal was of average height but carried an imposing presence. His eyes, it was said, gleamed with an almost supernatural intensity, a reflection of his tireless strategic mind. His body was hardened by years of training and battles, marked by scars that told the story of countless confrontations. Psychologically, Hannibal was an enigma. Blessed with sharp intelligence and a prodigious memory, he could recall details of terrains and battles with astonishing precision. His ability to inspire loyalty in his men was legendary, as was his cruelty toward enemies. Hannibal was a man of extremes, capable of great charisma and empathy with his followers, yet also of calculated coldness when plotting the destruction of his adversaries. Hannibal's primary motivation was to fulfill his childhood vow, to destroy Rome and establish Carthage as the supreme power in the Mediterranean. He viewed this not only as a personal mission but as a duty to his city and civilization. His role in the Second Punic War was transformative. In 218 BCE, Hannibal executed one of the most audacious military maneuvers in ancient history, crossing the Alps with an army that included war elephants, catching the Romans completely off guard. For 15 years, he terrorized Italy, winning battle after battle, including the devastating victory at Cannae in 216 BCE, where he annihilated a much larger Roman army. Hannibal revolutionized the art of war, employing innovative tactics and exploiting terrain in ways his enemies could not predict. His campaign in Italy not only threatened Rome's existence but forced the Romans to completely rethink their military and strategic approach, inadvertently paving the way for Rome's future dominance. Born in 100 BCE to a patrician family in Rome, Gaius Julius Caesar grew up during a time of great political turbulence. A grandnephew of Gaius Marius, one of Rome's most influential generals and politicians, Caesar learned early how to navigate the treacherous waters of Roman politics. His rise to power was marked by a combination of military skill, political cunning, and unmatched personal charisma. Caesar was described as a tall, well-built man with penetrating dark eyes. Despite his occasionally frail health, he suffered from epilepsy. He maintained an imposing appearance, always impeccably dressed and meticulously groomed. He was known for his baldness, which he tried to conceal with a laurel crown, a symbol of his military victories. Psychologically, Caesar was a study in contrasts. Endowed with brilliant intelligence and a prodigious memory, he could dictate letters to several scribes simultaneously on different topics. His ambition was legendary, as was his confidence, which bordered on arrogance. At the same time, he was known for his clemency toward defeated enemies and his loyalty to friends and allies. Caesar was a magnificent orator, capable of stirring crowds with his words. His charisma was such that it inspired fervent devotion in his soldiers, who would follow him to the ends of the known world. Caesar's motivations were complex. On one hand, he genuinely believed in his ability to lead and improve Rome. On the other, he harbored an insatiable personal ambition that drove him to seek ever more power and glory. His role in Roman history was transformative. His military campaigns in Gaul, 58 to 50 BCE, not only vastly expanded Roman territory but also provided him with wealth, prestige, and a loyal army that would follow him to the death. These conquests fundamentally altered the balance of power in Rome, eventually leading to the civil war that ended the Roman Republic. As a military commander, Caesar was innovative and bold. His speed of movement and ability to inspire his troops were legendary. As a politician, he defied established norms, eventually proclaiming himself dictator for life, an act that led to his assassination on the Ides of March in 44 BCE. Caesar's legacy was immense. His conquests laid the foundation for what would become the Roman Empire. His political and social reforms transformed Roman society, and his writings, particularly his commentaries on the Gallic War, became classics of Latin literature. The sun rises over the Mediterranean, its golden rays glinting off the bronze-clad ships of two mighty empires, Rome and Carthage. As the Roman consul Gaius Duilius paces the deck of his flagship, he turns to his second-in-command. "Today, we change the course of history," Duilius declares, his voice steady despite the looming battle. "Carthage has ruled these waters for too long. It's time Rome takes its place as the true power of the Mediterranean." His subordinate nods grimly. "But sir, our men have never fought a naval battle before. The Carthaginians are masters of the sea." Duilius smiles, patting the strange new device attached to the ship's bow. "That's why we have this. The Corvus will turn their strength into their weakness." As the Carthaginian fleet appears on the horizon, tension mounts. The Roman ships close in, and suddenly, with a thunderous crash, the Corvus slams down onto a Carthaginian vessel. Roman legionaries pour across, turning the naval battle into the kind of close-quarters combat they excel at. This moment at the Battle of Mylae in 260 BC marks a turning point not just in the First Punic War, but in the entire trajectory of Roman history. Rome's innovative adaptation of land warfare tactics to naval combat showcases the ingenuity and determination that would fuel their rise to empire. Fast forward a century, to a cold winter's night in Gaul, 52 BC. In his tent, Julius Caesar pores over maps by lamplight, his brow furrowed in concentration. A messenger bursts in, breathless with urgent news. "Caesar, Vercingetorix has united the Gallic tribes. They're marching on Alesia with an army of over 250,000 men." Caesar's eyes narrow. He's outnumbered 4-1, besieging Alesia with Vercingetorix's 80,000 troops inside and now a massive relief force approaching from without. It's a moment that will define his career and Rome's future. "Then we shall build a wall," Caesar declares, his voice calm but resolute. The messenger blinks in confusion. "A wall, sir." "Two walls," Caesar clarifies, a glint of audacity in his eye. "One to keep Vercingetorix in, and one to keep his allies out. We'll make our camp into a fortress and let them break themselves against it." This decision to construct massive fortifications around Alesia, creating a double siege, showcases the strategic brilliance that allowed Rome to conquer vast territories. It's a pivotal moment in Caesar's Gallic Wars, a campaign that would add immense new territories to Rome's growing empire and set the stage for Caesar's eventual rise to power in Rome itself. The scene shifts to the outskirts of Rome, August 24th, 410 AD. The unthinkable has happened. Barbarians are at the gates of the eternal city itself. Inside the city walls, panic reigns. Senator Quintus addresses a gathering of citizens, his voice strained. "Fellow Romans, for 800 years, no foreign army has set foot in our city. But tonight, the Goths are at our doors." A woman in the crowd cries out, "How could this happen? We're Rome. We're invincible." Quintus shakes his head sadly. "We thought our walls made us invincible. But our true strength was always our people, our virtues. As we grew complacent, as corruption spread, we rotted from within." Suddenly, a thunderous crash echoes through the city. The crowd gasps in horror. "They've breached the Salarian gate," someone shouts. As chaos erupts, Quintus watches with a mixture of sorrow and resignation. This moment, the sack of Rome by Alaric and his Visigoths, symbolizes the beginning of the end for the Western Roman Empire. It shatters the myth of Rome's invincibility and foreshadows the final fall of the empire just 66 years later. Through these three acts, we see how Rome's wars transformed it from a rising power to the dominant Mediterranean empire, and ultimately to a fallen colossus. Each conflict not only redrew the map but reshaped Roman society, economy, and political institutions. From the Corvus that revolutionized naval warfare, to Caesar's bold tactics that expanded the empire, to the final inability to defend against barbarian invasions, these wars tell the story of Rome's rise and fall, a tale that would shape the course of Western civilization for millennia to come. Auguries and oracles in military decision-making. Direct influence on battle strategies and the timing of military operations. Increased troop confidence when auguries were favorable. Potential delays or cancellations of military operations due to unfavorable omens. Institutionalization of religion within the Roman military and state apparatus. Development of a powerful priestly class with significant political influence. Creation of a lasting tension between strategic rationality and religious beliefs, which persisted for centuries. Reinforcement of prestige and political power of victorious generals. Boost in public morale and civic pride after military victories. Distribution of war spoils, impacting the Roman economy. Intensification of competition among generals for military glory, leading to increasingly ambitious campaigns. Evolution of a personality cult around military leaders, paving the way for the imperial system. Establishment of a cultural norm of celebrating military conquest, which influenced later civilizations. Destabilization of the traditional political balance of the Roman Republic. Increase in internal conflicts and civil wars. Rapid territorial expansion due to the ambitions of generals. Transition from the Republic to the Empire, with generals like Julius Caesar and Augustus becoming supreme rulers. Militarization of Roman politics, with the army becoming a key player in power shifts. Establishment of a leadership model based on military prowess, which influenced political cultures for millennia. Increased military effectiveness due to more experienced and trained soldiers. Shift in social dynamics, with long-term military careers becoming a viable option. Strain on state resources to maintain a permanent standing army. Creation of a distinct military class, often in tension with civil society. Rome's enhanced capacity for continuous warfare and long-term occupation. Shift in Roman citizenship, with military service becoming a path to citizenship for non-Romans. Decisive victories due to tactical and technological superiority. Need to adapt defenses and strategies to deal with new challenges, e.g., siege warfare. Significant investment in military research and development. Establishment of a continuous military innovation standard that characterized European history. Diffusion of Roman technology to other cultures, both allied and enemy. Lasting legacy in military engineering and architecture, roads, forts, siege techniques, that shaped urban and military development for centuries. These cultural, social, and mythical elements of Roman wars had a profound and lasting impact on the course of history. The Roman model of military expansion, cultural assimilation, and imperial administration influenced subsequent empires, from Byzantium to European colonial empires. The integration of religious practices into military and political operations set a precedent for the fusion of secular and religious power, which characterized much of European history. The ideal of the leader as a skilled military commander persisted for millennia, influencing figures from Charlemagne to Napoleon. The evolution from the citizen soldier to a professional army had lasting repercussions on how later societies conceptualized the rights and duties of citizens. Rome's focus on military innovation spurred advancements in engineering, metallurgy, and logistics that benefited many aspects of society. Constantinople's defense system, based on Roman military technology, resisted for centuries before finally succumbing to the Ottomans, marking the end of the medieval era. The resurgence of interest in classical culture during the Renaissance was largely inspired by accounts of Rome's military glories, influencing art, literature, and political thought. The founders of the United States were strongly influenced by the ideals of the Roman Republic and the dangers of excessive military power, as seen in Rome's transition from republic to empire. Many of the innovations in engineering and logistics developed for military purposes by the Romans laid the groundwork for technological advancements that fueled the Industrial Revolution. Concepts of military strategy, logistics, and the societal impact of war, all deeply rooted in Roman experience, played crucial roles in the global wars of the 20th century. These cultural, social, and mythical elements of Roman wars not only shaped the course of ancient history but continue to echo in our understanding of war, politics, and society today. Rome's military history is an epic narrative of rise, domination, and fall. Tension begins to mount with the Punic Wars against Carthage. Initially, Rome secures significant victories, expanding its influence across the western Mediterranean. However, the arrival of Hannibal in Italy during the Second Punic War pushes Rome to the brink of collapse. Hannibal not only crossed the Alps with elephants but also remained undefeated on Italian soil for 15 years, devastating the Roman countryside and threatening the very existence of the Republic. The tension peaks at the Battle of Cannae in 216 BCE, where Hannibal annihilates a Roman army far superior in numbers. Rome seems on the verge of destruction, but its resilience and adaptability allow for a dramatic turnaround. Rome's final triumph over Carthage in the Third Punic War, culminating in the complete destruction of Carthage in 146 BCE, establishes Rome as the dominant Mediterranean power. With the Carthaginian threat eliminated, Rome enters an aggressive phase of expansion. Julius Caesar's conquest of Gaul, 58 to 50 BCE, is a crucial moment, dramatically expanding Roman territory and bringing immense wealth. Fascinating fact: during the conquest of Gaul, it is estimated that Caesar killed or enslaved about 1 million Gauls, a third of the population. This raises ethical questions about the human cost of Roman expansion. Paradoxically, this period of military triumph also plants the seeds of internal instability. The power and popularity of generals like Caesar threaten the balance of the Republic, leading to devastating civil wars. Some historians argue that Roman expansion was primarily defensive, a reaction to external threats. Others see aggressive imperialism driven by greed and ambition. This interpretation affects how we view the overall narrative of the Roman Empire. The final phase of the narrative shows Rome increasingly struggling to maintain its vast borders. External threats like the Huns and Goths combine with internal instability and economic decline. The tension reaches its final climax with the sack of Rome by the Visigoths in 410 CE, a shocking event symbolizing the vulnerability of the once invincible empire. The deposition of the last Western Roman emperor, Romulus Augustulus, in 476 CE marks the symbolic end of the Western Roman Empire. Surprising fact: many Romans may not have realized the Roman Empire had fallen in 476. The transition was gradual, and many Roman structures continued to function under barbarian rule. The legacy of Roman wars extends far beyond the ancient battlefields, deeply shaping the modern world we live in today. Roman military expansion spread Greco-Roman culture across a vast geographical area, creating a common cultural foundation that still influences Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. This cultural diffusion has modern parallels in the globalization driven by the United States in the 20th and 21st centuries. Institutions like the Senate, present in many modern democracies, have their roots in the Roman Republic. The very concept of citizenship, fundamental to contemporary democratic societies, was significantly developed and expanded during Rome's expansion wars. Roman military needs drove significant advancements in engineering and architecture. Roman roads, built primarily for troop movement, set infrastructure standards that influence urban planning to this day. Just as Roman wars spurred innovations in civil engineering, modern conflicts have catalyzed technological advances. The Internet, for instance, originated as a U.S. Department of Defense project, illustrating how military needs can generate technologies with broad civilian impact. The Roman legal system, refined over centuries of expansion and imperial administration, forms the foundation of many modern legal systems, especially in continental Europe and Latin America. Roman legal concepts such as the presumption of innocence and habeas corpus remain fundamental pillars of modern legal systems, demonstrating the enduring influence of Roman legal thought. Latin, spread by Roman conquests, continues to influence modern languages. Legal, scientific, and academic terms in many Western languages derive directly from Latin. The dominance of English as the global lingua franca in the 21st century parallels Latin's role in the ancient Roman world, illustrating how military and economic power can shape linguistic landscapes. Modern excavations at Roman battle sites and fortifications continue to deepen our understanding not only of military history but also of daily life in the Roman world. Advanced archaeological techniques, such as LiDAR, are revealing new details about Roman military strategies. For example, recent discoveries at the site of the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest, 9 CE, in Germany have shed new light on one of Rome's most significant defeats. Just as modern scholars use archaeological evidence to reconstruct Roman battles, forensic investigators use similar techniques to analyze contemporary crime scenes, showing the continued relevance of these analytical approaches. The rise and fall of the Roman Empire offer valuable lessons for modern global powers. Rome's challenge of maintaining a vast empire in the face of internal and external pressures has parallels with the challenges faced by the United States as a global superpower. Rome's transition from a republic to an empire, driven by expansionist wars, serves as a warning about how militarism can affect democratic institutions. The legacy of Roman wars permeates many aspects of our modern society, from political institutions and legal systems to language and infrastructure. Understanding this legacy is not just an academic exercise, but a way to gain insight into the geopolitical, social, and cultural challenges we face today. The wars of ancient Rome remain a mirror through which we can better examine and understand our own world. As we reach the end of our epic journey through the wars of ancient Rome, from the Punic Wars to the fall of the empire, let's take a moment to reflect on the profound impact these conflicts had on the ancient world and how they continue to shape our understanding of empire, power, and civilization. Rome's military prowess was both its greatest strength and, ultimately, a contributing factor to its downfall. The expansion fueled by its wars brought unprecedented wealth and cultural exchange, but also sowed the seeds of overextension and internal strife. As we ponder the rise and fall of Roman military power, we're left with crucial questions about the nature of empire and the consequences of unchecked ambition. What lessons can we draw from Rome's military history? Perhaps the most evident is the double-edged nature of military success. Rome's victories brought glory and expansion, but also led to a reliance on conquest that proved unsustainable in the long run. We see echoes of this in modern geopolitics, where military might often comes at the cost of economic stability and social cohesion. The study of Rome's ancient wars also offers insights into modern conflicts. The strategies of great Roman generals like Scipio Africanus and Julius Caesar are still studied in military academies today. Moreover, Rome's struggles with maintaining vast territories and managing diverse populations mirror challenges faced by global powers in our own time. But perhaps the most valuable lesson lies in understanding the cyclical nature of power. Rome's fall reminds us that no empire, no matter how mighty, lasts forever. It prompts us to consider, how can societies balance ambition with sustainability? How can we learn from history to build more resilient civilizations? As we conclude this incredible journey through ancient history, I'd like to leave you with a thought-provoking question. If you were a Roman citizen living during the empire's peak, would you have supported further expansion or advocated for consolidation and internal development? Consider the potential benefits and risks of each path. This question invites us to step into the shoes of those who lived through these tumultuous times and grapple with the complex decisions that shape the course of history. And so, we come to the end of another fascinating exploration of the ancient world. If you enjoyed this journey through time, don't forget to leave a like, share this video with friends who also love history, and comment on your favorite part. To ensure you don't miss any of our future adventures into the past, make sure to subscribe to the Legacy of Empires channel and turn on notifications. Together, let's continue unraveling the mysteries of great civilizations. Thank you for joining me on this epic voyage through the wars of ancient Rome. Until next time, remember, the past is not just a series of events, but a treasure trove of lessons waiting to be discovered. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep learning from the legacy of empires.